Hey everyone, I'm Chris. Today I'm here to talk to you about stitch markers. I have had some questions lately about stitch markers. What are they? What do we use them for? So I thought that I would just give you a quick little rundown on the importance of stitch markers, the different kinds you can find out there, and what we use them for. So to get started, I just want to talk about why we use stitch markers. You can use stitch markers for a variety of reasons. If you have a pattern that has a repeat, you can use a stitch marker to remind you as you're going around, now it's time for me to change the stitch, or now it's time for me to make an increase. You can also use them to indicate the beginning of a row if you're knitting in the round, so that you will always get your new round in the same place. You can also use them to remind you of how many stitches you have gone through, especially if you're working on something very large like an afghan or a shawl. You can put them every 10 stitches, every 100 stitches, just so you know, all right, I've done 100 stitches, I've done 10 stitches. So let me just show you the basics of the stitch markers, the ones that are the most popular. There are two here, and you will find these very, very readily at the craft store or at your local yarn store. And the first one here is almost like a little safety pin. And in fact, if you can't find these or you don't have any on hand, a safety pin will work just the same. So these lock here, so you will take them and just put that little end in there and they'll lock and they'll stay put. And these are great if you are working on something, say like this granny square, and you want to remember here in the middle, you want to make a special stitch or something. So you can just lock it on that stitch. So when you come across and you're there on the next row, you'll remember, I have something to do. So they'll stay put. So you can leave them there, and then as you move, as you go up your rows, you just keep moving it. Another good option, if you happen to be knitting, is honestly just a scrap of yarn. You always have a scrap of yarn around if you're knitting. So what I will do is I will pick up a yarn in a different color, sometimes even just a different texture. And as I'm knitting and casting on, I'll put it there and I'll go, okay, that green yarn, that means I've gone 100 stitches, or this green yarn means I need to increase or decrease. And sometimes I'll actually even make a note on my pattern. Green yarn equals increase, something like that. And then finally, what you'll find is these little tiny rings. These are actually jump rings from the jewelry section of this craft store. And you can find these in any size, pretty much any color anymore. And what they do is they just slip right onto your needle. And they're nice because they don't catch your yarn. You're not gonna lose them. If you do lose them, they're really cheap, so you won't feel heartbroken that you've lost something very important. And you can actually add some little danglies to them and make them pretty. I use them. I have numbers hanging off of mine, or different designs hanging off each one, so I can see what my pattern repeats are going around. So there you go. Those are the very basics of stitch markers. I hope this helps you. If you have any questions, there are a bunch more out there, but these are the most popular methods. If you have any more questions or comments, please leave them down below and I will help you out. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.